Pachamama herida, baila verdolaga, yo no la sembré, baila verdolaga.
A leading artist of world music, Manu Chao plays music that can be heard around the world, mixing rock with Latin, African, and Middle Eastern styles. His songs address key experiences of 2/3 of the world. These are the hundreds of millions of people who live outside economically developed regions. One of his recent stops was New York City, where Canape found him playing for a global audience in a global city.
Then is Radio Bemba, last gig of the tour. Everything went really okay. We're really happy with all the people we met around in all the country, with the shows, with all the new friends we met. And last gig in Brooklyn, it's a dream for me. I'm happy.
Are you ready, Brooklyn?
Live music is live music, so I think the first thing important when you're on stage, then one word is energy. And what we need to bring first the energy from the stage, after the energy goes on the crowd, or vice versa. And there's this kind of little dynamo that's going on. And when the dynamo starts working, that's a good show.
Cuidado en el mar, cuidado la sed, cuidado donde sea, que te andan buscando. Cuidado en el monte, cuidado la frontera, cuidado donde sea, que va complotando, peligrosos barbaros, peligrosos barbaros. Súbela toda, ten cuidado, Brooklyn. Sube mi pueblo.
For me, the important is the future, is not the past. The past was my school. I built my personality with my past, for sure. I try to do my best in my present. I try to be, most of all, an honest person in my present, in my everyday life, in my music. And after, that's the only analyze I do myself, try to be honest.
Esperando la última ola, Pachamama me muero de pena, escuchando la última rola, mamá Mamacita, te invito a bailar. Brooklyn, a bailar. Por el suelo, bailame volar. Por el suelo, yo no la sembré. Por el suelo, bailame volar. Por el suelo, yo no la sembré. Por el cielo. Por el suelo, bailame volar. Por el suelo, yo no la sembré. Sube la rumba, sube. Bomba la bomba la bomba la bomba la bomba con tu cara. Bomba la bomba la bomba la bomba la bomba. Bomba la bomba la bomba la bomba la bomba. Economía. Bomba la bomba la bomba la bomba la bomba con tu cara.
Between New Orleans and Houston, there's a strange, magical country, Cajun country. It's a place with its own language, combining centuries-old French with rural American English. It's also a deeply musical culture with its own style. Cajun music is now one of Louisiana's important export products, packages of pure joy. Canape finds Steve Riley and the Mamu Boys playing at Joe's Pub in Manhattan. Band members talk about bringing their country culture to the Big Apple.
Hi, I'm Steve Riley. This is David Greeley. And we're with the Mamu Playboys. David and I started the band 19 years ago. It'll be 19 years this year. And we play Cajun music. We're from South Louisiana. I play a 10-button diatonic accordion. That style of accordion came to Louisiana in the early 1900s. And it became a really popular instrument because back in the old days, Cajun music was played at house parties. It was popular because it was such a loud, percussive instrument, perfect, to cut through the noise of the crowd without speakers or anything.
Until the beginning of the 20th century, there was nothing but Cajun French spoken between New Orleans and Texas. And when education came to South Louisiana and the isolation that we lived in ended, that's when the trouble started, because the teachers would not allow the children to speak French on the school ground. They were punished for speaking the only language they knew. They were humiliated. And the language, unfortunately, came to represent ignorance because of what the teachers were telling the kids. And it wasn't until World War II when some of the Cajun soldiers went to France and found out that they were really valuable to the army, they began to realize that they, despite what the teachers were telling them, their language was real French. It was archaic French from the 1600s. It was really beautiful French, and it was something to be proud of. So when we realized that, we started to work to preserve it, and the music is a big part of that.
depths of it, and I think people are just intrigued by it, you know, because we're like another country within a country, South Louisiana. We do things completely differently than the whole rest of this country, and it's one of the richest cultures in America.
No matter where I go, I think about the people back home and what they're like when we play this music for them. And I think that everybody has the same needs wherever we go. Everybody has the same need that those people do. They need to go out on Saturday night. They need to move around. They need to shake, and they need to feel good and to forget their troubles. And to me, it's the same feeling no matter where I am. I can be in New York City, and I feel the same on that stage as I do in Eunice, Louisiana, where I was last weekend.
Cajun music is who we are, you know, and it's what we've done for so long. I've been around this music since I'm a kid. I've been playing it since I'm a kid. And to play the music you love and have people respond in a good way, it's the best thing in the world. I feel like it's therapy.
Joanne Svar charmed critics and readers with The Rabbi's Cat, his graphic novel of life in the old Jewish quarters of Algeria. That story came from his father's side of the family. He now turns to his mother's East European origins in Klezmer, Tales of the Wild East, the story of just about the craziest klezmer band this side of Odessa. It all adds up to what one admiring critic calls a goofy, somewhat twisted vaudeville routine. The author paints his world for Canape.
In many ways, I guess my new comic book, Klezmer, might be an answer to The Rabbi's Cat. The Rabbi's Cat was a tribute to my father's family. It was a Jewish family from northern Africa with a father, his daughter, and the family cat. And it was about a family. On the other hand, klezmer occurs in Eastern Europe, in Ukraine, in my mother's family, and it's not a family, it's a band of friends. And in klezmer it's much more a kind of violent story with very young people. And the hero, he looks like a cat, but he's a young Jewish guy, and he gets rid of his Judaism. He goes to the snow, he wants to play music, he wants to fall in love. And it's a way of answering some question we were into The Rabbi's Cat. And even in a formal point of view, The Rabbi's Cat was very clean with very bright colors, whereas klezmer comes with watercolor, and I do all the drawings into a big sketchbook, so I try to have this much more intense and maybe a little bit of musicality. I call it like a jazz drawing, you know. There are blanks between the lines, the color does not go everywhere, because I try to do, which seems difficult, is to put music into the silent world of comic books. My father's a pianist. He used to play in bars and nightclubs and so on. And my mother used to be a singer. So I always was very fond with the popular music. And I love klezmer, which is the Jewish music from Eastern Europe. And I love this music. And I wanted to draw musicians. Every time there is a show in France or wherever I can go, I draw the musician. And I love to draw musical instruments. So my way of working is quite similar every day, even on Sunday. I wake up around 7 in the morning, I take care of my children, and at 9 o'clock I go to my office and I start to draw. And I draw panel after panel without sketches. And when it's like 1 o'clock in the afternoon, I go out to have lunch with friends. And then I work into pubs and bars with the same sketchbook, because my whole story is into a small sketchbook I can take with me everywhere. And my friends are not offended, they are used to this mad behavior, so they say, okay, he's like that. And they prefer when I draw, because when I take my violin it's noisy, and they say, go back to your drawing. It was very funny, well, sadly funny to work on Klezmer, because all I did to go to tenderness and love always took me back to sad things. I mean, I put a whole energy about the love stories between the two young people, and I love the very erotic scene when they go into a bath and when they are very tender one to the other. And I go to the story and I seem, it always goes back to violence, always goes back to pogrom, to whatever, and I try to avoid this. But when you depict a historical period, it takes you always with it, and it makes a very strange feeling. And maybe that's why I love those characters so much, because I try to protect them. I am always to say, okay, let's try nothing harm them, you know. But sometimes you're not master of your story. It's very strange to see sometimes a character must die, and you don't want him to die, but you're not the writer of the story. That's why it's as much exciting to write a story than to live something, because even if you're the writer, you don't know precisely what will occur.
Duke Ellington always said that his music was beyond category. The word jazz wasn't adequate as a description. The same kind of problem follows any attempt to quickly describe the music of Serge Gainsbourg, who died 15 years ago. His compositions have had such pervasive influence on contemporary French music that some fear no Gaul can do him justice. At least, that's the take of a new recording, Monsieur Gainsbourg Revisited, a tribute compilation of cover versions recorded by a dazzling array of international artists. Producer Timothée Verrecchia tunes Canape to the station.
Serge Gainsbourg is the epitome of the French artist, in the sense that he's a Renaissance man in the most French way possible. He was a painter, he was a composer, songwriter, he was a lyricist, he was almost a poet, some would say. He was an actor, he was a director. He was just the best-rounded artist of the 20th century.
I love you. I love you. Yes, oh yes, I love you. Oh my love, there is no tomorrow like the surge of a wave.
We were speaking to a number of different artists, Anglo-Saxons, who in the past 5 or 6 years have been referencing Serge Gainsbourg, and it came to our mind that Serge Gainsbourg was relatively new to this audience, and also not only was it new to them, but a lot of them had, for most of them, they didn't have access to his lyrics, and they only listened to his music, so they really had a fresh ear on Serge Gainsbourg's music. We really didn't want the artists that we picked to be too reverent or be too intimidated by the music. So we gave them the raw material and said, you have carte blanche, go ahead, play with it, deconstruct it, build it again and stuff.
I know a few of his songs, but just from his vibe, I could tell the guy was way ahead of his time. He's a legendary, a legend. He's like Bob Marley, John Lennon, Jimi Hendrix, all these people.
We really wanted a mix of people. We really wanted the work to be legitimate in the sense that we wanted people who had worked with him, who knew his spirit, also with the people behind the scenes, the producers, the engineers. We even went and recorded in studios where he had worked. We really wanted this to be a Serge Gainsbourg environment.
You remember the good face so pale, now the hour is nigh.
This is the story of...
This wasn't a record label driven project. It was really a labor of love. Our endeavor is really a small project, but we really wanted Serge Gainsbourg to be able more accessible to everyone. So if the young generation of artists 5 years down the line, you know, make a record and say, we discovered Serge Gainsbourg through this record, it would be the best recognition for this project.
I tried to raise a toast, ate the second verse, but I heard Requiem for a jerk.
African music has always influenced American music, but it is only in recent years that African musicians have attracted the attention of American listeners. The success of the Africans in entertaining their American admirers could be seen last year on the multi-city tour of Putumayo Presents Acoustic Africa. Veterans Habib Kwete from Mali and Vusi Malasela from South Africa were joined by the dynamic young Dobe Nare from the Ivory Coast. At B.B. King's Club in New York, Canape listens to her words and her music.
Je m'appelle Dobe Nyaouré, je suis fille d'un comédien, percussionniste et metteur en scène. J'ai grandi en Côte d'Ivoire. Ça fait 3-4 ans que j'ai sorti mon premier album, et que je tourne un petit peu en Europe, un peu en Afrique, un peu partout dans le monde. C'est ma première tournée aux États-Unis, et c'est Putumayo qui a organisé cette rencontre avec Habib Kwete et Vusi Malasela. Et je suis là surtout pour défendre mon album, défendre mon nom et puis défendre l'acoustique africaine.
Allez taper à la porte de mon père. Allez taper à la porte de mes frères. Dites-leur que je suis fatigué de ces politiciens. Dites-leur que je suis fatigué de ces gens qui roulent. Anona voilà, belle coco, belle coco.
Pour moi, être artiste, c'est vraiment toucher à toutes les branches, quoi, si c'est possible, quoi. Là, la première mélodie arrive, la première émotion, et puis tu as l'impression que c'est la plus belle chanson du monde quand tu composes une nouvelle chose. Donc toute la journée, tu la chantes, écoute ça, tu trouves pas que c'est trop joli? Puis ça va te dire, mais toi tu penses que c'est ton truc le plus beau, quoi. Et c'est le début de la création qui me plaît, le début de la création. Et aussi, bon, tout le chemin que ça fait, les passages en studio. Les passages au studio, et surtout quand il y a du monde qui vient participer à l'album. Si jamais il y a un jeune comme moi, peut-être de mon âge, quand j'ai commencé la musique, qui me dit je veux être artiste, et quels sont les conseils que tu peux me donner, je lui dirais crois en ce que tu fais, ne perds jamais, parce que c'est très facile de vite tomber. C'est facile aussi de vite monter, mais tu as des gens autour de toi qui t'aident à monter. Mais quand tu tombes seul. C'est très facile de vite tomber, et il faut toujours croire en ce que tu fais, en ce qu'il fait. Il faut que tu croies toujours, et il faut qu'il reste humble, et puis il faut qu'il reste soi-même. C'est-à-dire qu'il ne faut pas qu'il se laisse démonter par tout ce qu'il va entendre. Oh, beautiful, oh non, c'était magnifique, oh c'est génial, oh tu es la meilleure, oh là là. Ça, on entend ça beaucoup. Et il faut toujours poser la tête et penser à tes frères et tes parents, à où tu es né. Il faut toujours penser à d'où tu viens avant de te laisser monter par ce que tu entends de nouveau. Et moi ça m'a peur en fait de changer. Hein. Ça m'a peur de changer, de plus me reconnaître.